My name is Richie Gentile, and today I will be interviewing my dad, who played a bunch of sports in high school and has coached myself, my brother, and my sister. Okay, so my first question is, who influenced you in becoming interested in sports?
I think I'd have to say my number one influence would have been my father, who actually didn't even play any sports when he was younger, didn't even play baseball or anything, but then knew it was a great way to come closer to me and started coaching baseball and even coached a basketball team. He would be my biggest influence for sure.
Did you have a particular athlete who you greatly admired when you were young, and why?
Well, of course, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era, so being from Chicago, he was everyone's number one. I think mine would be Mike Singletary, who played middle linebacker for the Super Bowl Bears back in the day. I really admired how he kind of ran the Bears defense, which actually was arguably the best defense ever in the NFL. So those two probably.
Nice. What is your greatest memory and greatest disappointment in your playing or watching of sports?
Yeah, they would have to be one and the same. My grandfather, who was born in Italy but then was a truck driver, really loved the Cubs, and he totally got me interested into the Chicago Cubs. So for so many years of my life, it was many disappointments. I can't pinpoint one, but the World Series victory would have been the greatest thing I've seen in my sports life.
So then, what was your favorite sport to play, and what was your favorite sport to coach, and why?
I probably enjoyed playing basketball the most, even though I was a much better football player. And actually, as far as coaching, I enjoy coaching probably basketball and football the best. I think baseball and softball is just a little slow moving.
So the NBA really started marketing professional basketball in the 1980s, not just as a league, but as a brand. So do you remember noticing any changes during this time period?
Well, when I was a young kid, basketball, I think if you even would check ratings and stuff like that, nobody would go to basketball games or watch. I remember going to see Bulls games where there was a couple thousand people when I was really younger. And then Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and of course Michael Jordan came around, and the NBA started to try to be cool. And I do remember they had like a commercial where they'd be like, "The NBA, it's fantastic." And it's been pretty mainstream since then.
Okay. So how would you describe the difference in coaching boys and girls?
Well, there's definitely many differences. I mean, the main point in coaching is trying to get the kids to improve and to try their hardest. So in going about doing that between boys and girls, there's a much different way. The boys, you can be a little more forceful, a little more hands-on, whereas with the girls, you got to be gentle and kind of talk them into things. So I don't know, you're trying to get the same thing, but trying to go about it in little different ways.
Mm-hmm. When you were an athlete, do you think women had equal opportunity to men in sports, and can you see a difference in this today?
Well, I went to an all-male high school, so we were definitely one-sided in that way. But in watching sports and following all these things, I've noticed that with the Title IX or whatever it is, which gives equal sports to boys and girls, I just noticed that, it's a good thing which has had repercussions, whereas sports that have been around a long time for the males to even it out would have to be cut or become a club team or a paid sport. So, I mean, yes, I'm all for equality, but I don't know. There's bad things that come with every good thing.
Mm-hmm. As a parent, have you noticed the difference in male and female athletics with your children's experiences? This could involve styles of coaching, playing time, other parents, or the athletes themselves.
Yeah, I mean, as far as parents, every parent strictly wants to see their kid do the best possible. So for boys or girls, as far as that, I haven't noticed much difference. But like I was saying with the earlier answer, it, tend to be a little more forceful with the boys, and especially coaching football. That was actually one sport where I really enjoyed because you didn't have to worry about hurting kids' feelings, and, you could actually try to get the best out of them without worrying about getting yelled at by their parents the next day.
Looking back, are you happy with your decision to go to a big school, IU, and not play sports rather than getting a scholarship and playing football at a smaller school? Do you think the scholarship money is worth the time, effort, and experience?
Yeah, well, that's back when I was in college, it was a lot more economical. And at the time, it definitely wasn't a full scholarship anyway. So I'm happy with my decision that I decided to go to a bigger school and concentrate more on schooling. But today, with the prices of college being what they are, and literally more than people make in 1 year on average for that, the value, it is, college athletics is sometimes a full-time job, but if you're going to consider $50,000 worth of education, yes, it probably would be worth it, but kids got to be a real someone who can handle a lot of stuff. So, all right, sorry.
That's good. How have the economics of youth sports changed over your life?
Greatly. When I was a child growing up, club sports almost didn't exist. There was a couple of the basketball teams for the real elite, but no club baseball, no club soccer, no club volleyball, no club. It's become an economic gain for everyone except for the parents of the kids who are going there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like the way it's heading, and hopefully we can go back to staying more local and not needing to do all this crazy travel for all these sports.
And then, do you think college athletes should be paid for their play? Why or why not?
That's a very difficult question. The main sports only that are actual money makers are men's basketball and men's football. And in those sports, for the amount of money that the universities are generating, are making off these sports and off these athletes, it's only fair that the athletes should be able to receive some compensation. They are getting a free education, but in the big picture, these sports are also supporting all the other sports at the university that lose money. So it's a slippery slope on how you can pay them. The bigger schools would be able to pay more. It opens up, well, I don't know. Right now, everything is happening under the table. So if we were able to figure out a way to do this and do everything above where you could see what's going on, I think it would be a great thing if they could figure it out. But it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think that race and economic status affect what sport an athlete plays and a sport that they don't play?
Well, like with the travel sports, going back even to when you were in 8th grade and we were looking at these club travel basketball teams, which, whatever it was, 8 years ago were a couple $1,000s to pay. I mean, it's you have to have extra income, extra money to play these travel things, and for many people, more than half the people, it's not possible. And kind of got lost there.
Does race like affect it?
Yeah, well, with economics, race is involved with that, and sure, the poorer you are, the less chance you have to play these sports. That's why soccer is a worldwide sport. You need a ball and a field. So, I don't know. Might be the wave of the future.
And then the last question is, how have athletes changed how they express themselves about either their race or political views throughout your lifetime?
Yeah, that's definitely had some ups and downs in my lifetime. In my real young youth, which I don't remember much of it, back in the day of the Vietnam War when Muhammad Ali was speaking out freely and literally went to prison as a protest, to my middle time with Michael Jordan, who is famous for saying that Republicans buy gym shoes too, and therefore wouldn't speak out very much, to where we are now, where the athletes are kneeling and LeBron is speaking out, and I think it is a good place because they have a platform where other people do not. So, yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's it. So we're done.